Hello friends, hello everyone. March is a very special month, I tell you. Today is the 2nd actually, and Venus just turned retrograde, and it was an interesting sequence since December the 8th. Mars had been going backwards till just a few days ago on the 23rd of February, 24th in other parts of this planet. Mars turned direct, while Venus was just in the very last part of her cycle, which ended really with her starting to move backwards again, which happened earlier today, which means there was this small window, Mars starting to pick up momentum and Venus to slow down quite drastically. However, Venus was faster than Mars till a little earlier, actually less than 12 hours earlier. You see, 28th of February, 3:42 p.m. That's when finally Venus slowed down so much that Mars was ahead of the game again, kind of like a relay race. So Mars had been literally under reconstruction, under remake, really. That is what retrograde periods mean, which is the masculine energy in general was to be overhauled between December 8th and March the 20th and February the 23rd. Then Mars regaining the momentum of moving ahead for the next 22 months or so, and at the same time Venus just finishing. She had taken over the main task. It's always this Venus-Mars thing, male-female energies, which one is in the lead in a way. That is the Venus-Mars principle as being the neighboring planets of planet Earth. So they are physically very important. It is biological manifestation, creativity at its most basic and most natural in a way. It is that power of Venus and Mars, and I mean, you know all the stories. Venus and Mars are two archetypes, definitely. So these are the energies which are at play. These are the basic rulers of manifestation. So that's why we really have to pay attention to their cycles, and this is a very special arrangement right now. Now Mars is leading again, and this chart is just really interesting because the degree where the moon was when that happened, the 19th degree of Pisces, and you will see this degree is super important as it repeats itself in so many of these important charts I'm just showing you in a minute. And the moon also is conjunct Saturn. And this is really the theme of this coming time now, with Venus moving backwards. And it is learning compassion. It is starting to understand the deep necessity, the gift of forgiveness, true forgiveness, which is really forgiving oneself. Because I just thinking about this in the last couple hours came to me. You see, we are functioning almost like on an autoimmune disorder as the collective, as one body of energy, as oneness, one with nature and everything, as we are all interconnected. And that is the wonderful thing, which is just coming to a clear culmination with Neptune being in the very final weeks of being in Pisces, finishing a 14-year cycle since 2011. This is a culmination, and Neptune is at home in Pisces, so it is really we will be able to really experience this at the ultimate best level, most refined, most complete. And this is possible for everyone who is ready to go that route. It's a choice. Either you are getting stuck in that inability to let go and heal yourself, basically. As long as you're stuck in that autoimmune programming, and it is programming. I mean, it's not natural. Nowhere in nature do you see revenge. That when, for example, a fawn is taken down by a lion, that then the father of the fawn comes and attacks the lion for that. No, it's a natural give and take, and that's how yin and yang work. We need both polarities. They have to be in a interplay with each other. They have to be allowed both the bad and the good. It's really like in a Shakespearean drama. That is also, when you look back into your life, into your biography, where you're coming from, you will see that the really difficult and bad things can have turned out to be the real seeds for goodness and for great insight, I would call it. I mean, let me give you an example out of my own youth. My mom was a brilliant, wonderful woman. I loved her to pieces, but one thing was, she was a talker. She was really sharing everything and every thought almost, and naturally, what I learned from that, as much as I loved her, that I never would do that. That I would just be the one who knows exactly how much to say in each moment, and I hope that is true too here as I speak to you, that I don't overdo it. Anyway, it is that deep insight, that what we are receiving as curveballs, to turn it into opportunities of self-improvement and of spiritual growth. That's really what it is. We have to overcome that seed of revenge. That is what this Venus retrograde period is teaching us, with Neptune in the last days, literally on March the 30th. It will be pretty much, we have that full month still to learn that integration, to go take it to a way deeper place. And Venus, I mean, you see, okay, I pointed out the 19th degree of Pisces. You see, I mean, it's just amazing how the universe works. When Mars takes over Venus speed, gets in the lead, and just an hour or two later, actually it's a little more than that, 3:42 p.m. till, so less than 10 hours later, Venus turns retrograde and conjunct the moon. Yes, beautiful. This is when the moon is connecting with a planet that brings that energy really into our biological experience. Then we can feel it from inside out what it means. And Venus and moon naturally is one of the best combinations you can think of in your chart personally. This is a frequency of love, of appreciation, of beauty, of all the wonderful sweet things in life to be appreciated by this moon, and making it to be I would say our main frequency is lunar when we meet with the world, particularly if we are coming from a heart level. The moon is literally the connector with the cosmos at large, as it's the moon's motion over the sequence of days which allows it to highlight stars per certain sections in the sky. So it is really that whole idea of time, of something changing over time, is the moon represents that too. So the moon is the lens through which we see the universe, the greater cosmos. It is really the first focal point, if you want. Naturally the sun too, but you cannot look at the sun. That is the beauty of the moon, of night, moon is the ruler of night. In that sense, also again shows you that very same polarity in whole different concept. It is the dark and the light, the hot and the cold, and yes, and then you can bring in the good and the bad or whatnot. But again, we have just to see them as names and not get too much behind it. Just really learn to forgive in a short one word nutshell. And that is what this chart is showing. And I let me give you the whole sequence of charts here, even if we just scan through them. I prepared them, so let's go there quickly. It goes back to the end of February 27th, which was a super powerful day in the Mayan calendar too. And this again is another aspect of, it's like you have not just a 666, you have a quadruple 6. It is that you see, I want to really show you quickly. And again, under the video I always have the links where you can learn more about these systems. I give you the best places to go to where you can convert time. So the 27th of February, let me just make sure I say that right now, was one man. Yes, one man, the blue magnetic eagle, the blue magnetic eagle, which, so we are here in the last 26 days of this big cycle. So this is really the culmination too, which goes into mid-March. Let me give you the exact date, because these are really turning points. March the 24th will be the last day of this present 260-day cycle. So we are in the time of planting seeds. That's really what it is, the last 52 days. The renewal of the light, it's called. It's really when the seed is put in the ground, and then after March 24, starting March 25, we get into a whole new creation cycle. And that is still quite a bit away, but not that far either. It's still within this month, so really keep it in context. So this was an important turning date, the 27th. Power of vision, deep insights are possible on that day, and from there on forward in the next 11 days in this whole sequence. The eagle is at the head of this wave. Power of vision, yes, it's the ability to clearly see with crystal clear. Everything functions at its highest clarity. The reflection is almost without any disturbance. And then, okay, just a little detour here. Day 2 was the warrior, the 28th of February. And you probably know what happened on that day, which was extraordinary. It was that live TV interview Mr. Trump had with Mr. Zelensky, which caused huge waves. But that was a real warrior day element was to that. It made me really have fun again. I mean, when you really are aware of this day sign, the energy of the day in the Mayan calendar, then you can really see it manifesting. It's always a pleasure to see that synchronicity. And that is really what keeps me going, also of wanting to share my insights, because it's, once you really have that tool at hand, then you see that everything happens exactly as it's meant to happen in a way. There's absolute perfection out there. yes, there is free will, and that is the paradox in it. So we are at the same time receivers and transmitters. We are creating, we are the foam on top of the wave, where all these chaotic motions and movements happen, all the bubbles and the foam, you can feel with it. The big wave is kind of predictable, but that foam, that is really where creation is happening. So let's now get into the astrology of it, because it is a new energy which came in on that 27th, entering those last 26 days, which really proved that there's an amazing resonance here of things falling many different cycles falling in place with each other. Still, Setna in hexagram 20, let me explain. Setna is the senior in the zodiac, you could say. This the wisest guy, has the oldest, the longest orbit around the sun. And it is bringing all that grandfather wisdom of ancient history. It's that big vault of information we yet have to get deeper into it. And interestingly, Setna is ruled by that deep sea goddess who has lots of mystery around her, who is mute basically, whose fingers turned into the whales and the dolphins and all the sea creatures. So she is ruling the deep, the underground, all the mysterious. And yes, Setna comes in from an 11,000 year orbit around the sun, so really bringing in memories of the past, which will totally change everything we believe we know of history, and with that, as history being really at the root of everything. And that will change life from its deep foundations, and that already has started. I mean, Setna already has been dipping into hexagram 20, which is contemplation in early Gemini, one of the most powerful sections in the zodiac. Deep insight is possible there. I mean, this all links in with the human design system. It's really too much to explain in one sentence, but hexagram 20 is one of the gates from the manifestation center, from the fifth chakra, which is the most complex, which is really the shows the intention of creation, that we are meant to be conscious creators, and whatever we do, if we are going from our heart and being natural and integral, then we are channeling that energy, and that is what astrology shows. So with Setna being now till 2032 expressing through these 5 first degrees of, and again the numbers you can find the links underneath and get deeper into this. It's a fascinating system. I'm really one of the promoters of the human design system, and all that comes with it, which is way more than usually is used by practitioners. They do a great job, but I like to take it a few levels deeper, and I do that since I started first tapping into it, which was 1995. So I was really at the front of that whole development into the human design system. It's a fascinating. I will come back to it and hopefully get into really teaching and getting to spread this information a little further into the wider scale of the world. Anyway, this is all possible with Setna now here in Gemini. This old wisdom will really be revived, and not just revived. Setna literally gets a voice with Gemini. Yes, she might have to be the one who just sends out the frequencies, which then are picked up by all the people who are receptive to become her ambassador, if I want to say. And I mean, this is a super important chart, as was naturally the time when Sedna entered Gemini, which is yet a different level of focus. But in general, Gemini naturally is the house of Mercury, of the senses, of the sensual experience, of getting in touch with it. I mean, first you dream it, then you make it, then you feel it and sense it. Actually, it is more of an intellectual charting out the topography of reality. And then, yes, with Cancer, we really get more into the sensual and the emotional aspects of it. But this is one of the first signs of the zodiac. Now, it's the third one to be exact, and the third one also is fast. Number 3 is the number of high speed. Okay. Let's just move on. This was that same chart for Washington DC. I found it interesting with Mars down here, considering again the big wave which has been generated. I mean, it really showed in a never before clear manner to me how there are two totally different realities out there, two different worlds, and they really shall not meet, it seems, at this point. They're so to the extreme diverted, opposed, you know what I'm talking about. So maybe it is at the utmost extreme of polarization that the breakthrough is happening. I actually have that in idea. It is, we're moving into a chaotic zone where everything all of a sudden could be an inversion, and the whole thing collapsing into a reality nobody saw coming, in a way, something totally out of the blue, unexpected. That is a kind of the energy also Neptune has, as it will enter Aries on March the 30th. Will be a super interesting shift, and this is just anticipating Saturn and Jupiter both changing signs then later in May and in July, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a loaded year, I tell you guys, and we're just really at the entry point. Look forward to the time around March 25th when the new 260-day cycle starts. Then really that will be the 9-month period of recreating this reality, lifting it to a higher level of frequency. And with that said, yes, we will go through deep adaptations and shifts, which definitely can have quite a physical expression. And again, I want to throw this in again. It is when a conflict is resolved in the human body, that usually is maybe not the right word, but it can kill you. When the problem is resolved, all of a sudden released, so much energy is coming into the system that often people have strokes or heart attacks when these breakthrough moments come, when something you have been hoping for, waiting for a long time, all of a sudden shows itself. Yes, it's overwhelming, it's like a tsunami. That is kind of what we will see on the mental and emotional level first, when, as I'm very strongly convinced, we're so close to a huge breakthrough in that sense of exposing truth in a much more clear way, which will really disperse out because it will be so much in your face and so over the top that it will be a dropping jaw moment for the rest of us who is still kind of taken by the illusion, if you want. So this will create such a mental and emotional shock in the system, which will then express in a very physical way in Earth's body. Anywhere between mid-April and mid-June, this will be the first most intense wave. There might be a second one in fall. We will see how things pan out, but with the center date, the really high wave point, end of May the 28th to be very exact. We have talked about that. I will definitely keep giving you more details about it. There's so much happening, it's really hard to stop. That's why my videos often get a little longer than I wish. But I mean, nevertheless, I mean, yes, I found that interesting. So we have the Pisces new moon then a few hours later, just after Sedna had its ingress into that powerful place of being on a high tower, having that view all around. It's really, that's the symbol of the I Ching. There's 4 strong lines and there's 2 yin lines at the top, which means it is like the tower of a castle, and you're high up there on the roof and you're watching out over the vast landscape. It's contemplation, really taking it all in. Sedna, with that approaching new moon, yes, with Ceres here too in the lead, just having entered Pisces. This is the Earth Mother. Again, making herself really being felt, heartfelt, deeply emotional, a connection with our nature, the moon. The moon is like in our inner child, if you want. It is where we really feel being nurtured and connected to the whole. The moon gives us most of that. So when the moon is here close to new moon, yes, this is an most important moment that was really turned things around. And yes, it was pretty much around that time when that interview happened. You see, that was 9 a.m. in Washington, D.C. Probably just in the wake of that. That's my guess. I don't exactly know, but anyway. Then you see just 8:54 on the 27th, 28th, we are now 16 hours later, new moon, and the new moon here again, the 19th degree of Pisces, the same one we had up here. No, it's not this chart. It's it starts actually here with this chart, right? Yeah, the new moon here in the 10th degree of Pisces. Yes, there's a Pisces month on top, with Neptune being in the last section of Pisces. And interestingly enough, as Neptune will enter Aries on the 30th, this will be after spring equinox. Super interesting that too, that the sun has already warmed up the sign of Aries for Neptune to be received, kind of rolling out the red carpet. This is a super exciting time we are in. I keep repeating myself, sorry. But next is the axis of the 26th degree of Scorpio and Taurus, but also of Leo and Aquarius. Now the 26th degree is something special. It is the first of the last 5 of a sign. Now according to Rudyard's system, if we divide the zodiac into 5 degrees, then the first 5 are actional, the second 5 from 6 to 10 are emotional, cultural, and the third section is intellectual, individual, mental, and that repeats: actional, emotional, cultural, and mental individual. This is super important because this shows we are individually going through very, very different birth channels, if you want. Everybody is in their own little cocoon, experiencing the world exactly from their perspective, at their pace of evolution. Yes, everything is moving faster. That's the basic insight we have been given, which makes total sense. Everybody is evolving at a highly advanced, at a light speed moment, really. But everybody within their own story, and it will be interesting to see the outcome when things really collapse, when really we find that singularity of everything, all timelines uniting, synchronizing, coming into coherence. That's really what it is. There's no obstruction anymore, just everything flowing in an easy way. Well, this sounds like a dream, but this is truly the direction we are heading for, which doesn't mean that polarity will no more exist, but polarity will be natural. It will be allowed within a goodness, a basic goodness. It's really like the lever has been pushed way into the negative, so we have experienced the good and the bad. Even the good has yet not a fully positive side to it. So that's how extreme the conditioning has gone. We have to bring this level back at least to the zero level, even better above, into the plus zone, where even the so-called difficult negative is really integrated and forgiven. Exactly, again, the theme of these present times. And I did actually do a little bit of homework. Let me see if I find it. So the 19th degree of, where did I write it down? Just bear with me, I have too many places to write things sometimes. Here it is. So the 19th degree of Pisces, which is so important, is about the transfer of power and knowledge. That is the conclusion of the Sabian symbol. The 19th degree of Virgo, on the other hand, which is the polarity point of this new moon, is the cooperative effort to reach new world experience. That's exactly what it says in the Sabian symbols. The cooperative effort to reach new world experience. We go through a massive shift in the next few weeks of deepening our insights collectively. That's my prediction. Now the 26th of Scorpio is ability to adjust quickly to the new by tuning into requirements. The ability to adapt to nature is emphasized. So this is another really amazing degree. Again, this is the one which has to do with the individual mental integration versus, this is an actional degree here, the 19th in that second of 15 degrees between the 16th and the 20th degree. Actional, which means it is something which happens. There's nothing to it, it will happen anyway. The transfer of power and knowledge, the 19th Pisces, 19th Virgo, cooperative effort to reach new world experiences, is an actional energy which is just coming, and we are kind of able to hook into it and let us to be pulled by the future, literally, by that amazing reality which already exists, at least in its structure. It has just to be filled in, to be lived, to be brought to life. That's what we are here for. Okay. So yes, then short after new moon, you see, to get back to this, now that is Mars starting to take the lead. Yes, the 90th degree of Pisces, and Venus moving, going to retrograde, the 19th degree of Pisces and Virgo. It's uncanny. And you see, were we here before now? I'm really getting confused myself if I show you the same charts over and again. No, it's not. You see, the Pisces new moon of the 28th has exactly the same geometry as Venus station. So this is true everywhere on the planet, in other words, that these two events are linked into each other. They have the same ascendant, the same midheaven, the same places in the chart. The planets are. So these two are working together as one. That's why this Venus retrograde period comes in with such a power, because it's totally in tune with the greater scale of reference, if you want, which is the new moon. Definitely the new moon is the one moment which anchors a new start, and here this is another new start, again with these four angles. And just because I like to look at the heliocentric also, it is just quite amazing to see Venus here in heliocentric in that moment when, from Earth's perspective, Venus is falling behind, which is that time when Venus comes in between Sun and Earth, and in that sense kind of moving against us, and we move this way. No, I'm saying it wrongly. We naturally move in the same direction, but Venus kind of taking us over, and that period appears for her to move backwards. Yes, it's a little drawing would help, but it is that time we are in now. Venus will be invisible because it's in the Sun's field. We'll have a conjunction with Venus. Let me just give you the date here too quickly. On March the 22nd, that will start a new Venus-Earth-Sun cycle, a synodic cycle. Interestingly, just again in the new round with Sun already in Aries after spring equinox, very beautiful. Really shows that there's a big new beginning around the corner. And actually just a day after or 2 days after, Mercury is exactly starting a new cycle too, being in between Earth and the Sun. So this is super exciting that both Mercury and Venus, the two inner planets, are back in the starting position, the most original starting position. A really great omen for something totally new to come into this world, into manifestation, Venus and Mars again. So Venus in opposition with Ceres, yes, the Earth goddess. This is the moment of rebirth, and you see in T-square with Uranus at the 7th house cusp, pretty close, with Sedna and Mercury. And I showed you in my other video about the volcanoes. This is a super critical connection, Uranus and Sedna, as it really brings movement into the deep. I would say it's a seismic placement in Taurus particularly. So Uranus in these last degrees of Taurus, it's can get pretty shaky, and that's exactly what we probably will have to endure. However, it is really bringing things back into balance, even though there will be areas of destruction of flooding, most certainly with Neptune being so strong. And yes, it's definitely good to follow your intuition in that sense. Really know where you want to be for the next few months. Be prepared. That's all I say. And you will be cared for, helped by the angelic realm and by reality falling into synchronicity. All which is necessary is just to live in the moment and be fearless. I guess that's really an important aspect of today's reality. Fearlessly being yourself. Yes, another one which I really want to put some light on is also Deucalion. Another Kuiper belt object. Deucalion is that energy of foresight, of being told to build an ark, of get ready for something of unknown proportions. In that same axis, yes, this is a foreboding. Something is building up here very, very clearly. Mercury here, heliocentric, in a tight conjunction with Sedna, so yes, even more so bringing all that into the open, making it being heard, seen, experienced directly in real life. That is touching our senses, yes. Anyway, let's just look into the next few days. I just have a few more charts here which kind of confirm what I already said, but they bring it into a yet different level of recognition. So this is then a week later with the waxing half moon, and when the cycle really starts kicking into higher gear towards full moon, the moon conjunct Jupiter, and interestingly enough, again the 25th degree of Taurus, this time with Uranus at the helm. Yes, you see what I mean, the repetition of degrees, and actually with the Sun and Saturn here honing around the 19th degree, this is still a very active degree. Actually, something not to be underestimated, this Nessus is in this 19th, 20th degree by then. Nessus is the energy we really have to transform. It is that energy, that flavor of illness, of mental disorder, of all things literally sick and wasted, and you name it. It's a real bad boy energy. And that is to be brought into into purification, and Saturn already has started working on that, to bring it to the forefront, to really unveil what's been going on. Super important. It is that stage we are at, which, as I earlier said, will trigger that mass wave of awakening, which will trigger that mass wave of emotional and mental energy, which will be picked up by the earth and express itself in a massive physical shift, which is what has been labeled earth changes. That's really, as I pointed out in earlier videos, it seems all to lock in with one another into this year 2025, the year of the snake, of shedding skins. That's literally bringing it down to a nutshell. Okay, the next one here I have still is, let's see, I'm always surprised myself what I pull out of my sleeve. Saturn conjunct the Sun, 26th degree again, of these two signs, these two fixed signs this time. So it's in other words, Uranus square. The moon in, now first of all, Sun Saturn naturally is when the when Saturn is recharged by the Sun. I guess that's the best way to say it, because it's always how we experiencing it. We see Saturn merging with the Sun. Here you have it, and Earth is here on the other side, so the Sun is naturally here in between. Forgive me. Saturn is far behind the Sun, but still falling into one line, and that is at the moment when, as for us on Earth, Saturn is recharged. And with Saturn being recharged, with the Moon here in early Virgo, beautiful. Really, this is a promising. I love the Virgo Moon. It just shows that self-care, that ability to be your own parent, to take the responsibility life throws at you and run with it, go the extra mile, because it pays out. It really gives you the sense that you create life as you go. Whatever you take care of, it becomes your child, becomes your, and in your body naturally the first and foremost closest one to be. Mercury-Venus conjunction here in that degree where we will have the solar eclipse on the 29th of March. Again, a nice preparation of that degree for deep insights to come in that Aries energy of new, renewing, literally overwriting mistakes, wrong programmings, errors, not really deleting them, but rewriting it, and just it might still be the same experience it was, but you give it a new meaning. You see it has a new label, and yes, nothing is either good or bad. Only thinking makes it so, as Shakespeare famously said. And this is true on all levels. So yes, Sun, Saturn, this is the beginning of things getting really serious on this planet. We go through an upgrade. It won't come in an easy way at first. It will be chaotic, and Aspolus is the one which is fascinated by the mystery and the crime scene, and really knowing all the details of what was the intrigue of the whole story. Chaos. Interestingly, if you go back to the original meaning of chaos, it's the primordial order. It's everything is coming out of. It is where there is no thinking, where everything is in total organic unity, and then comes the 19th century redefinition of chaos, yes, into what we know naturally as chaotic, disordered entropy at its greatest, but that's really not what truly chaos stands for. Chaos, yes, can reshuffle the game. It has that deep, I would say, conviction that however defragmented something becomes, however things fall into pieces, into single atoms, once you come from that organic sense of oneness and unity, everything magically falls in place and rebuilds itself in a whole new surprising way. So this is kind of what chaos gives us as an experience, and that already has started, as chaos is already here in Cancer for a couple years at least. So that ability to trust whatever comes, even though it's chaotic, and yes, it so happens that just let me see, that's the next chart. Day later, actually, yes, chaos turns direct, so chaos already is in a super powerful place, almost moving at 0 speed, and then a day later, yes, chaos turns direct. That is, let me show you again. Here. And all these exact times I'm getting out of John Donne's ephemeris truenode.com. I will post the link again for those of you who are not aware. He's doing a great service. He's a friend of mine through a forum I've been part of for many years. An excellent astrologer and a researcher. And John Donne, True Node, where you can calculate all asteroids and new planets. A great source linked with the Swiss ephemeris, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway. So chaos moving direct, and you see again 26 degree and the 19th. I mean, it's uncanny. There's really something building a structure of different energies coming into position with one another to build that framework for an enormous tsunami to be received and transformed into other goodness and harmony, to go to push us to that place where there's no other way than being compassionate and forgiving, where the challenges we will be facing globally will be so huge that there is no room for thinking, are you black or are you white, are you whatever. This is what I have been saying, and that seems to be really getting into very clear vision over the next few weeks, most certainly when Venus is regaining her forward motion by mid-April. That's actually, we still have a little bit of grace period to get ready for the really big waves to be dealt with. So yes, I guess I have one more here. Saturn entering hexagram 36 then on the 16th of March, crossing the line of 22, 37 and 30 minutes of arc, which is the beginning of hexagram 36, darkening of the light. One of the, I would say generally the most difficult spot in the zodiac, the most challenging, and it is deeply emotional transformation of crisis into progress. That is the challenge here, and we have that full channel defined, as I pointed out in earlier videos, between pretty much the first 4 months of this year. So this is just bringing yet another strong highlight onto this point. The Sun and the North Node are in that same hexagram. This is coming to terms with really the darkest of the dark, and this will be where Saturn will be for the, let me give you the exact date, because this is really a powerful window of going to the deep end of the pool. Saturn will be in that hexagram till May the 5th. Yes, so this will be the time of pretty much coinciding with that Venus retrograde. So yes, it is within that window and a bit farther before it then taps into the new beginning energy already at 28:15 of innocence. But till then, yes, it is to be expecting to deal with dark stuff and difficult things. For, as I say, the Moon and the Sun and the North Node both are in that same segment. Interesting though is that the conjunction of the two is still in the hexagram prior, which is grace, which is showing that we are being fully ready to dive into the deep, into the dark, because it will be coming from a very spiritual place. Grace, that hexagram, is showing that ability to handle life with grace, to be always in gratefulness and feeling that deep oneness. I mean, after all, this is the last decade of Pisces we have entered here in the 21st degree. So it is that deep union which is being felt, which is giving the background beautiful. Anyway, so again, yes, again, the 19th degree of Pisces and of Virgo. I mean, it's all really amazingly showing up, and this chart is particularly intense as in the heliocentric there's a perfect Venus-Saturn opposition. As you probably know, we will have 3 Venus-Saturn conjunctions. One already happened. The second one, as Venus now is moving backwards, will happen sometime in a few weeks, and I guess the third one will be in May, in early May. So this is stretched out, this Venus-Saturn energy, again, of learning to love your karma, learning to forgive and be a true nurturer of this at times very demanding reality. That was definitely Saturn, always being the big teacher, of bringing in the big lessons of these are the laws of nature, you have to respect and keep up to it. So yes, I guess I already pulled forward to this last chart when the Sun and the lunar node are matching up, and the node as being the evolutionary direction target. Yes, now in hexagram 36-2 since a few weeks, so we are really already into that mode of experiencing it from deep within, and in that sense doing our part in transcending and into transmuting this darkness, the inner darkness, all which first and foremost starts with forgiving yourself. And then when we are able to forgive ourselves, then we definitely also are able to forgive others, because you see, nothing is in the end. We're all characters, we're all players, as much as we might get identified with the role. There's always some deeper layer there which is very human, and which, I mean, just think of everyone having been a child, having been loved by a mother and by a father, and come into this world innocent, and then being programmed, conditioned into certain monster personalities. But this is not their original face, if you want, and that's what we have to see, that's what we have to appreciate in every being, and that's where we're going. I mean, it's very clear with that being on the 7th house cusp, with the galactic center here at the root, the moon here in pretty exactly conjunct its apogee, its farthest place from Earth in a month, the dark moon. Yes, it is that deepest abyss where all the unprocessed and difficult stuff gathers, Yes, it's all clear. We are going through a deep, deep transformation of emotional energy, and learn to forgive, learn to let go of revenge. Thank you so much for being here, and maybe one more last chart, because this is where it will be all culminating when then Venus will have its final conjunction with Saturn. Here again, in that same place, pretty much. You see, 27, 23 is where Sun and North Node meet, and in late April, 27, 13, and the Moon here in the same company with the North Node, all in hexagram 36. Yes, this is where it's all heading, of manifesting itself between mid-April, as I repeat myself once more, and early June. This is the window of huge shifts. Thank you for listening and being patient, following my story to the end, hopefully. Otherwise, maybe if you do it in 2 sections, that might be an idea. Anyway, love you all. Thank you for being here. Till soon.